Haha. You see, kid, people got a funny way of showing you what you mean to them. Real funny. First, they'll act like you're the best damn thing that ever walked into their miserable lives. Call you loyal, real, rare. And the moment you stop dancing to their little tune, stop replying in 5 seconds, stop bending backwards just to keep their chaos from spilling all over your peace. Boom, you're the villain. Ain't that ironic? They cry about loyalty with a knife behind their back, ready to gut you the second you stop feeding their ego. But you kept trying. You kept showing up. You swallowed your pride so many times, I'm surprised your stomach ain't full of rusted blades. And for what? For people who only remembered you when they needed a free therapist, a punching bag, or a damn clown to distract them from the circus they built for themselves. Let me tell you something real cold, real raw. You owe them nothing. Not your time, not your mind, not even your damn silence. You keep quiet now, yeah? Good. Let them twist in the echo of their own mess. Let them scream to a wall, hoping someone like you shows up again to clean the blood stains they left on their own hands. You gave them peace. You gave them calm. But what did they give you? Anxiety, doubt, guilt. They made you question your own heart. They made you beg for the bare minimum like you were asking for the world. And the sickest part, they knew exactly what they were doing. Drama ain't just an accident, it's their fuel. It's how they breathe. And you were the oxygen tank. You kept them alive while they suffocated you, all with a smile on your face. But now, I'm telling you, stop. Let them gasp. Let them feel the weight of their own noise. You don't gotta explain yourself no more. You don't need to defend your silence. Because that silence, that's your damn superpower. Ever notice how they all panic when you go quiet? How suddenly they start telling people you changed, that you're cold, that you think you're better now? No. You didn't change. You just stopped letting parasites eat your soul with a silver spoon. And you know what scares them most? Not the anger, not the confrontation, but the peace. Your peace terrifies them because it means they don't have access to your chaos anymore. It means they can't control your emotions like strings on a puppet. It means they lost the show. And when the curtain falls on a performer, guess what? The audience don't matter no more. You hear me? Let the curtains fall. Let their drama die in the silence you chose. But let me guess. You're scared to let go, huh? You still got that flicker of hope they'll change. That maybe, just maybe, if you wait long enough, they'll wake up and say, I'm sorry, but that ain't real life, sunshine. That's fantasy. That's a bedtime story you tell yourself to sleep better at night. People like that. They don't wake up. They recycle. Same patterns, different masks. They'll trade you for someone who lets them scream louder, and then come crawling back when that noise burns their ears. Don't you dare open the door again. Lock it, seal it, burn the blueprint. You think you're missing out? No, they're missing out. On someone solid. On someone loyal. On someone who showed up even when it hurt. You were the calm in their chaos, the peace in their war. But they were addicted to storms. You can't fix that. You're not a rehab center for broken morals. So sit back, breathe deep, watch their drama play out from a distance, like a movie you've seen 100 times. Same script, same tears, same manipulations. But this time, you're not in the scene. You're not picking up phones, explaining yourself, trying to fix what you didn't break. You're done. You walked out of that theater, and guess what? The silence out here, it's beautiful, it's healing, and it's all yours. You know what's funny? People scream loyalty, but they treat you like a seasonal hobby. You're only useful when their life's fallen apart, when they're bored, broken, or buzzing on drama. And once they find a new distraction, poof, you're history. Cold silence, no explanation, no respect, just ghosted, like you never meant a damn thing. That's the world we live in now. Temporary people with permanent damage. And they project all that trash onto you. Make you feel like you're not enough. Like you're too much. Like if you just chilled out or stopped overthinking, they'd love you better. Nah. That's the trap. The gaslight. The mask they wear to keep you hooked. You think you're dealing with humans? You're dealing with actors. Drama's their stage, and you're the one who keeps feeding them the spotlight. But now, it's time to kill the lights. Let the show end. Let them drown in the silence they forced you to carry. See, your peace, it ain't just silence. It's a boundary. And boundaries? Oh, they hate that word. It means they can't walk in and out of your soul like it's a hotel lobby. It means access denied. And that drives them mad. Why? Because they were never there to build with you. They were there to drain you. You gave them front row seats to your mind, and they trashed the place like tourists in a palace they never earned. Every apology was just bait. Every "I miss you" was a reset button, not a revelation. And every tear they cried, performance. Trust me, I know all about performance. I'm the king of masks. But the difference, I don't lie to myself about what I am. They do. And they want you to live in that lie with them. Don't. They'll say you're cold now, that you've changed, that you've got walls up. And guess what? Good. Build higher, stronger, thicker. Not to keep love out, but to keep chaos out. Let them label you. Let them talk. 'Cause when you were soft, available, and understanding, they still found a way to call you too much. So now be too quiet, be too distant, be too unavailable. Watch how they crumble when their drama doesn't hit your radar anymore. Watch how lost they get when your name no longer lights up their phone. That silence, that's your revenge. That peace, that's your power. You don't need a stage, you need a fortress. But I know you're probably still stuck in that cycle, still checking your phone, still replaying old conversations, still wondering what you did wrong. Let me answer that for you. You loved the wrong people too deeply. That's it. You gave gold to those who only understood rust. You offered healing to people who were addicted to wounds. You were the fire in their winter and they still complained about the heat. That ain't on you. That's on them. You were honest. You were loyal. You were present. And they weren't. Period. Stop romanticizing what hurt you. Stop giving poetry to people who only speak in lies. The chapter is closed. Stop rereading it like the ending's gonna change. You want to know what hurts the most? Growth. Your glow up. Your silence. Your detachment. Not the angry texts. Not the emotional breakdowns. Not the long paragraphs begging them to understand. Nah. That just fuels them. Makes them feel important. But when you vanish, when you level up in peace, when your name becomes just another lesson in their long list of regrets, that's when the pain hits. That's when the mask slips. That's when they realize they lost someone who never planned to give up, but got tired of being the only one trying. So let them talk. Let them spin stories. Let them be the victim in a play they directed. You ain't in the audience anymore. You're outside, breathing, healing, building. And guess what? Your life, it's gonna get quieter, colder, maybe even lonelier for a while. But it's also gonna get clearer, cleaner, stronger. Because peace isn't about silence. It's about selectivity, about choosing who gets your energy, your time, your love. And you've given enough. Now, it's time to keep it. For you, for your future, for the version of you that doesn't wake up wondering why you ain't enough. You ever notice how they only come back when things start going right for you? Yeah, that ain't love. That's inconvenience. You healed without them. You leveled up in silence. You stopped crying and started grinding. And now, suddenly they miss you. Suddenly they realize your worth. No. They don't miss you. They miss the access, the validation, the attention, the way you made them feel important when they weren't shit. You became their mirror. They only liked their reflection when it was you standing there showing turbine so best parts of themselves. But the second you shattered that mirror, the second you stopped playing dumb and started protecting your peace, they flipped, called you heartless, cold, toxic even. And here's the twist. They're not wrong. You are toxic now to them. Because your peace is poison to parasites. Your silence is a death sentence to those who thrived on your chaos. You finally became what they fear most, a version of yourself that no longer needs their noise. You see, the real ones don't flinch when you start setting boundaries. They adjust, they respect. But these ones, the ones you gave your time, your kindness, your softness to, they were never real. They were opportunists, leeches in disguise, vampires who fed on your spirit till you forgot what it meant to feel calm, And now that you're rebuilding, now that you're learning to sit in a room and not need anyone to fill the silence, that's when they panic, because they know, deep down, they were the storm, not the shelter. They were the drama, not the love. And you finally figured it out. Took you long enough, huh? But that's okay. Growth is messy. Healing is violent. Peace is uncomfortable. At first it feels like loneliness, like emptiness, like punishment. But give it time, and you'll see it for what it really is: freedom. Let's break this down real clean. Peace is not about feeling good all the time. It's not about light candles and breathe deep and hum your way to happiness. Nah, kid, it's war. A quiet one, the kind that don't make headlines. You fight every day to not respond, to not check up on them, to not let your emotions write another message that'll be ignored or weaponized. You fight the urge to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. That's the battle. And when you win it, day by day, hour by hour, you start to see what real peace tastes like. Not validation, not attention, just stillness. You ever felt stillness? Not the silence after they leave. I mean the one after you finally stop chasing, stop fixing, stop bleeding for ungrateful hands. That kind of stillness, it's addictive. You start craving it, protecting it. And guess what? That's when the snakes show up again, crawling back, speaking in old familiar tongues. But this time, you see through it. You smile, you nod, but your door stays closed. Because peace ain't just something you find, it's something you guard. Let 'em call you cold. Let 'em say you changed. That's the damn point. You had to change. You were dying in their comfort zone. You were shrinking to fit their needs. You were quiet in your own pain just to keep the fake harmony alive. So now be loud in your silence. Be proud of your distance. Be ruthless with your peace. You gave the world enough chances to get it right. Now it's your turn to get yourself right. And if they can't stand that version of you, good. That means you're on the right track. That means you're no longer entertaining drama disguised as love. That means the mask is off, and the only one standing in the mirror is you. So light a candle or don't. Cry some nights or don't. But whatever you do, don't go back. Don't reopen what God shut down. Don't respond to chaos just because you're bored. Don't beg to be seen by the same blind eyes. Keep walking, even if it's slow, even if it's dark. Because every step you take in peace, that's a middle finger to every person who thought they could ruin you and watch you stay broken. You survived the fire. Now build in the ashes, quietly, strongly, alone if you have to, but never again with those who made peace feel like a privilege you had to earn. You ever see a lion argue with hyenas? Nah. You know why? 'Cause lions don't explain themselves to scavengers. They don't roar to prove who they are. They walk alone if they must, and the jungle moves out the damn way. That's who you need to be now. You ain't here to beg, to explain, to convince people of your worth. You're here to elevate, silently, mercilessly, and with no room left for apologies. You spent too much time trying to be understood by people who ain't even trying to understand themselves. You explained yourself to chaos. You justified your heart to cowards. You made your pain digestible so they wouldn't feel guilty for causing it. And now you're done. No more warnings. No more speeches. No more open doors. This is the season where you let your silence speak louder than their noise ever could. Let your absence echo where your presence was taken for granted. They used to hear your voice every day. Now, they gotta remember what it sounded like. That's the consequence. That's what they earned. Not a speech, not a final goodbye, just distance. Cold, clean, sharp like a blade, but calm like winter. You ever felt that? That cold peace, where you ain't even mad anymore. You just don't care. You don't wait for texts. You don't check their stories. You don't care who they're with or what they're doing. Because the weight of their presence has finally been replaced by the lightness of your peace. And that, right there, that's the scariest thing you can become to someone who once controlled you. Indifferent. They always thought you'd stay, thought they had time, thought they could keep pushing your buttons, dragging your heart through glass, and you'd keep showing up like a fool with a bleeding smile. But you got tired, didn't you? Quietly, slowly, and one day, you just didn't answer. One day, you didn't fold. One day, you chose peace over chaos, and that was the end of their control. They felt it too. That shift, that power leaving their hands and returning to yours. Because, see, control ain't about who speaks louder. It's about who can stay silent longer. And baby, your silence, that's the loudest scream they'll ever hear. Louder than your anger, louder than your pain. It says, you lost me, without even moving your lips. And don't let them bait you back in. That's the next trap. They'll come looking sweet, regretful, acting like they finally see your value. But it ain't real. It's strategy. It's survival. Because without you, they have to face themselves. And trust me, they can't. You were the escape, the distraction, the dopamine hit when their own soul got too loud. Now they sit with silence, and it burns. But don't play savior again. That ain't your job anymore. You ain't their therapist. You ain't their medicine. Let them feel what they made you feel. Lost, confused, alone. That's justice. Not revenge, not cruelty, balance. You need to stop fixing what they break. Stop trying to prove you're good enough to people who ain't even good to themselves. You ever wonder why they're always surrounded by drama? Why every month it's a new fight, a new enemy, a new problem? 'Cause peace don't live there. Peace requires They want comfort in dysfunction. They want someone to blame when life don't go their way. And you were the perfect target. Too soft, too loyal, too kind, but not anymore. Now you got fire in your silence, steel in your smile. And they don't know how to handle that. Let them keep talking. Let them keep painting you as the villain. You owe no explanations, no justifications, because the real ones, they don't need context to know you tried. They know peace isn't easy. That detachment ain't bitterness, it's survival. That silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And you finally got wise. Now use it. Build in silence, grow in darkness, shine where they can't dim you anymore. And every time you feel like explaining yourself again, remember this. They didn't care when it was killing you, so don't care now that it's killing them. You ever notice how the same people who called you too emotional, too intense, too soft, are now out here crying about how people don't love them, right? Irony, huh? You gave them everything. Your time, your thoughts, your silence, your patience. And they treated it like a handout. Like love was some charity project and you were just the volunteer. But now that your attention's gone, now that your eyes don't light up when they enter the room, now that you've stopped checking in, suddenly they feel unseen. Nah. That's not your guilt to carry anymore. That's their reflection to deal with. They spent all that time staring in your mirror, now they gotta face their own without you standing in the way. And that mirror, it don't lie. It don't flatter. It shows them the mess, the holes, the way that they took good hearts and broke them for sport. Let them look. Let them see it every day. That's the price of your absence. You ain't the villain here, even if they tell the story like you are. That's just their way of sleeping better. They'll never admit they drained the best parts of you, that you carried conversations, held space, gave more chances than anyone deserved. They won't say how many nights you lost sleep worrying about their mood swings, their passive-aggressive silence, their hot and cold games. No. They'll just say you switched up, that you walked away. They won't mention the million silent battles you fought just to keep them from crashing. But I will. I'll say it for you. You did more than enough. More than they ever deserved. And they know it. That's why they're mad. Not 'cause you hurt them, but 'cause you finally stopped letting them hurt you. And maybe you're still holding on to some fantasy in the back of your mind, that one day they'll call. One day they'll say, I see it now. I'm sorry. But let me break it to you, raw and unfiltered. They don't get it, and they never will. Because to understand what they lost, they'd have to have the depth to feel it. And these people, they swim in shallow waters. Love for them is a game. Loyalty's a word. Pain is leverage. They don't reflect. They deflect. Every mistake gets blamed on someone else. Every goodbye gets rewritten to fit their victim narrative. You think they're gonna sit there and feel what you felt? Cry like you cried? Change? No. They'll just find the next person and hit copy-paste. same script, new face, different name, same outcome. But you get to break the cycle. You get to be the one that chooses peace over performance. You ain't running no more. You're not begging to be heard. You're not explaining yourself to people who wear masks so well they forget their own damn face. You're moving on, quietly, slowly, maybe with some bruises, maybe still bleeding a bit, but you're moving, and every step you take away from their chaos, that's a victory. That's a win. That's you reclaiming your sanity, your stillness, your space. So let them gossip. Let them twist the story. Let them convince the world you were the storm. You don't need to correct it. The truth don't need press. It survives. It shows up in how you walk now, in how you sleep better, in how you don't second guess your worth anymore. They can tell their version. It won't last. 'Cause when people get close to them, when they feel the drama, the games, the instability, they'll see the pattern. And your name? It'll come up, but not the way they want. You'll be remembered as the calm they couldn't handle, the stability they weren't ready for, the love they never grew up enough to return. And by then, you'll be too far gone to even care. So I want you to sit with that silence, feel it, protect it, let it harden into peace, the kind that don't get shaken by loud voices or false tears, the kind that doesn't flinch when your name gets dragged through the mud by people who couldn't survive a day in your shoes. You've earned this peace, bled for it, cried for it, burned for it. Now wear it, cold, proud, unapologetic. And if anyone tries to pull you back into that fire again, you don't even speak. You just smile and walk away. Because your silence, that's the loudest truth they'll ever hear. Let's talk about guilt. Yeah, that twisted little emotion they planted in your chest like a seed, watering it with manipulation until it bloomed into self-doubt. You ever notice how they made you feel bad for setting boundaries? For saying no? For disappearing after they disrespected you 10 times over? They flipped the script, turned your strength into selfishness, made you believe that protecting your mental health was betrayal. That's the oldest trick in the damn book. Emotional guilt tripping. And you walked right into it for too long, apologizing for not answering fast enough, for not being available 24/7, for not destroying yourself just to build them. But here's the part they never expected. You woke up, and when you did, their whole empire of control started to collapse. Not because you screamed, not because you fought, but because you stopped. You stopped explaining, stopped showing up, stopped holding space for people who wouldn't even stand up for you when it mattered. Guilt is a weapon, and they know how to use it, like pros. They hit you with that, "I guess you don't care anymore," or that "you've changed" line, hoping to reel you back into the cage they locked your spirit in. But You did change. Damn right. You did. You had to. 'Cause the version of you that tolerated all that mistreatment, that version wasn't gonna survive. That version was dying quietly while you kept pretending you were okay. So, yeah. Now, you're different. Colder. Sharper. Not out of hate, but out of necessity. 'Cause this world, it don't hand out peace. You gotta fight for it. You gotta bleed for it. You gotta walk away from everything familiar just to find a piece of yourself that they tried to kill. And when they see that new version of you, the one that don't answer anymore, that don't explain, that don't react, they'll call it ego. They'll call it arrogance. But let me tell you something. It's self-respect. You ain't cold. You're focused. You ain't distant. You're healing. You ain't heartless. You just finally realized that your heart ain't a charity center for people who give nothing in return. And if that makes you the bad guy in their story, so be it. Every villain was once a hero who got tired of being used. Let them talk. Let them spin their drama. You don't need to argue. You don't need to set the record straight. Time has a nasty little habit of exposing everything. And when it does, they'll remember who you were, not the villain. They'll remember the one who stayed too long, the one who gave too much, the one who disappeared when they pushed too far. And here's the real kicker. They'll try to come back. Oh yeah, always. Once they realize you were the anchor in their storm, once they realize that silence feels a hell of a lot heavier than your presence ever did, they'll crawl back. Some with apologies, some with excuses, some acting like nothing happened at all. But by then, you won't even be bitter. You'll just be unavailable. Because once you taste peace, once you build a life where your phone ain't a source of anxiety, where your mind ain't racing to decode mixed signals, where your soul ain't begging for scraps of basic respect, you don't go back. You won't even recognize the old version of yourself that tolerated all that. You'll look back and wonder how you even survived living that way. That's growth, baby. That's evolution. That's what happens when you stop letting clowns drag you back into the circus. So stop feeling guilty for cutting people off, for blocking numbers, for going ghost, for protecting your damn peace like it's sacred, because it is. They don't understand your silence? Good. It ain't for them. It's for you. You've said enough. You've cried enough. You've explained yourself until your throat bled, and they still didn't listen. So now, let the silence speak. Let the distance scream. Let the absence educate. Your peace ain't just available, it's expensive, it's earned, and they can't afford it anymore. You ever wonder why peace feels uncomfortable at first? Why? When everything gets quiet, when no one's yelling, no one's manipulating, no one's blowing up your phone, you still feel anxious? That's withdrawal, kid. Withdrawal from chaos. You got used to calling connection. And that's the sickest part of it all. They trained you to think dysfunction was love. Trained you to believe that if it didn't hurt, It wasn't real. So when peace finally shows up, it feels boring. It feels empty. You start doubting it, thinking maybe you're the problem. Maybe you're the one who ruins everything. Nah, that ain't the truth. That's conditioning. That's what happens when you spend too long around people who only valued your pain, not your presence. People who only responded when you broke, who only said, "I love you," after a fight, not before. They made drama the currency and you kept paying just to feel seen. But you're done spending now. You're bankrupt of patience for people who treat your heart like a revolving door. Here's what they don't want you to realize. Silence is power. Not everyone can sit alone with themselves and not go crazy. Not everyone can walk away from what they once begged for and still keep their head high. But you did. And that makes you dangerous. Not 'cause you're violent, not 'cause you're cold, but because you finally don't need their noise to feel alive. You found out that your peace was never in their hands. It was always yours. You just forgot. You let their voice drown out your own. Let their opinions shape your view of yourself. And now, they don't have that control anymore. You ain't jumping through hoops. You ain't replying out of guilt. You ain't explaining every damn move like you're on trial. And that shift, that peace, that independence, it's the biggest threat you've ever posed to them. They can't stand it. Your peace exposes their chaos. Your detachment shows how clingy and unstable they really are. They thrived when you were emotional, when you were begging, crying, trying. But now that you don't flinch when they ghost you, now that you don't chase when they play distant, now that you don't give a damn when they try to make you jealous, they crumble. 'Cause what you took away wasn't just your presence. It was their power. And the second you took that back, they realized what you truly were. Not weak, not soft, not desperate. You were just loyal to a fault. But now that fault's been patched, and you're moving different. No noise, no announcement, just calm, cold, and completely untouchable. People like them, they're addicted to cycles, to push and pull, to chaos and calm. They live for the drama. And when you stop playing, the game's over. You ain't clapping anymore when they put on their emotional performance. You ain't giving them the sympathy card, the validation, the I understand. You understand too much now. That's the problem. You see through the games, the patterns, the fake apologies. You recognize the fake healing talk, the I've changed act that only lasts until you say no. And that's the part they hate the most. Not that you're gone, but that you're gone and better. You need to hold that. Let it sink deep into your bones. You got out. Not everyone does. Some people stay addicted to the pain because it's all they know. They stay in circles, confusing motion with progress. But not you, you broke free. And yeah, it's quiet now. Might feel lonely some nights. Might feel like no one gets it. But trust me, this is the good part. The rebuild. The peace that don't come with panic. The mornings where you don't wake up checking your phone, hoping they ain't mad at nothing. The nights where you sleep without replaying arguments in your head. The life where your silence isn't punishment, it's a gift to yourself. And if they ever come knocking again with their fake regrets and shiny distractions, remember, you are not who you were when you loved them. You're wiser now, colder, but not bitter. You ain't out for revenge. You just ain't available for round 2. You learned your lesson. You found your peace. And no matter how loud they cry, how much drama they throw your way, how sweet the trap sounds now, you won't bite. Because peace ain't something you chase anymore. It's something you keep.